My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today we're here doing something super exciting. So, well, I think it's super exciting anyway. So a new show is coming out soon called Worry the Virgin, and it's a remake of the American show Jane the Virgin, which is a remake of the telenovela whose name translates to Jane the Virgin. I don't want to butcher Spanish, so just
that's fine.
Stay with me here.
That way. Yeah.
And it stars longtime love of the show, Sung Hoon, whom we love Sung Hoon.
We do.
Okay? We have a strange affection for that sad little man. So we decided, what if we did an episode about remakes and shows and movies and whatever that are remakes, and that's what we's gonna do. So if you're curious about some related content to this, we have an episode where we go deep into the remake of another Oh Hey Young, which is called Certified Unlucky, and we have two whole videos with our actual faces on them on YouTube, where we make Sky watch Boys Over Flowers and react to it.
They are currently our most popular episodes
popular
or
videos.
YouTube too.
Is us making Sky watch Boys Over Flowers.
And I'm actually very happy that the conclusion video didn't show up because there were some technical problems
that
but there was a costume that I had going on. I'm happy
the world was not ready. The world was not ready for your sick cosplay.
Oh my gosh, it was so great though. If you had been there, she was like, okay, I'm gonna go do something and wait. And so she had left the chat and video chat, and then she came back and was just. I wish we had that moment of our reactions.
Maybe laughing.
Maybe I'll bring that. If there's
costume.
ever something special, I can bring that cosplay back.
Please do.
Yes.
It was a delight.
And we did in that Oh Hey Young Certified Unlucky episode. We did spend about 20 minutes discussing remakes and stuff. So but it's been 2 years and.
Yeah, we
didn't
really
happen. So,
do a full deep dive on it. We didn't give a lot of different
a little
things. It was kind of just a tie-in to what we were talking about for this remake. Yeah.
So if we overlap it all, let it go.
Listen, man. Stuff
then
happens.
You should really watch it if we said it twice.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right. So, what kind of common sort of remakes do we encounter in the wild world of Asian entertainment streaming?
Well, I think it's different, between us who watch Asian dramas and then just the general population who watches media, right? Because I feel everybody knows that there are remakes of movies, but kind of the more popular or the widely known to people who aren't part of the Asian community entertainment watching, that sort of thing would be that that a lot of Asian horror movies get remade.
Like The Grudge,
it's a very known thing. But for us, we know that Asian dramas get remade within the Asian countries all the time. It's a very common thing for us.
I also love I was visiting my mom and she was watching, the American version of Good Doctor. And I was like, oh, that's based on a K-drama. And she looked at me like I had grown a third head. She was just like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's based on a really popular K-drama. That's why it's.
And there's a J-drama remake of it as well.
And then she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. So there are things that, it does sort of go both ways. And sometimes people aren't really aware that things are a remake. And sometimes remakes are better ideas than others. Let's just say, for example, how they keep saying they're going to remake Train to Busan. And I'm like, why? This doesn't just make a zombie movie. No one's stopping you.
A whole thing on Twitter recently, a couple weeks ago, I think, where somebody said, can we stop remaking things that were good? Let's remake the movies that had a great idea but didn't execute. Let's take that great idea and remake that.
Yeah,
and then
rework it.
Yeah, like
See, that would be like a really great idea that someone thinking reasonably would think, but as we all know, the people who make the decisions, who are just in it for money, see, oh, this made money, it'll make money again.
And they're
For
clearly
no
wrong
reason.
because they're not making
Yeah.
money anymore.
And
like,
they're not even making anything good with it.
well, it's
so-
also like hard when it's like you take like what was it? Time for Hunt, that movie, the Korean movie, and they were like, post it on Netflix, and immediately they're like, we're gonna remake it for an American sequel on Netflix again.
You just
within like a couple of years, and you're like,
you don't need to remake it. It's right there.
It exists.
You already made it. Good job. The other one I was laughing about is how there were always the rumors that they were going to make an American version of Crash Landing on You, and I'm like, how? Like it doesn't. America doesn't have like a long-term, like it doesn't have a DMZ. Like this doesn't,
like
this plot doesn't make any sense.
It's
like
like Canadian and American.
Yeah, I know. Like
plot doesn't work. Like
it's not a forbidden romance. You can go between America and Canada freely, and you can go between Mexico and the U.S. You can't make this show
Every summer there is in my town, there's like a float down that starts in like this American town, and everybody gets on a raft and they and they go to this other American town. And one year the weather was absolutely terrible and the wind blew everybody to the Canadian side into our little harbor, and they couldn't get out because they're just in blow up rafts.
Oh my gosh.
None of them, they're like they're all
crash
like,
floating on
and
you.
nobody has their ID or their passports. So like you can't go back home. It was like
oh my god, that's hilarious.
Hilarious. We're all going for walks down and like getting fries and ice cream and stuff, and just watching all these cold Americans like crying in their beers about how they can't get back home, and they just rounded them all up, put them on a bus, and drove them back to the border and like dumped them on the state side. Like it was not. You can't make a show out of that. Like, it's not gonna happen.
I mean, you could, but it is not going to be the same show.
Yeah, it's like that would be. Listen, that would be like a funny sitcom comedy situation, like a corner gas plot of some sort, like you know, small town shenanigans, but not.
You could have like one of the people like develop a relationship with like the bus driver or something, and then you know, like that'd be great.
But it wouldn't be Crash Landing.
That's one of those things
like,
too. Like
cultural context matters.
With the Western remakes, they just take the name, right? A lot of times they just take the name and they completely change it. So, and you're like, but that's not how you only get people for that one episode. After that, they're out. So you're lost all your money.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this. Like, even like if I'm thinking about it, Arizona has the big weather balloon or, you know, the air balloon festival that they have. And like, you would have to have it there, but like still.
But like,
it doesn't.
It's not illegal to float into Mexico. No one's gonna think you're a spy if an American goes to Mexico.
It'd be like you would be more like worried about like, you know, crashing and dying. Like that's your actual concern.
Like I don't even think you need a passport to get into Mexico. You need one to get back. But like I think they just. Like,
I mean, maybe if you set it in like the 50s in Alaska and they wound up in Russia.
Well, let's also be honest. It's Western. They'll probably do something like drug cartel or like, you know, make it
bullshit.
Very like
just completely missing the point of
like,
everything.
This is how it is in all of Mexico. And you're like,
no, it's really truly not.
No, it's not at all. Okay.
Whereas that actually presented a realistic look of what it's like to live in abject poverty in North Korea and how different it is from South Korea, which was the point of the show. Like, anyway, so cultural context in remakes does matter, which is why often people are like, oh, well, why are you upset when they're remaking like these Asian shows, but you're not upset when they're remaking Western shows in Asia? Because like none of the cultural context of like, say, Criminal Minds doesn't translate to the Korean version of Criminal Minds. Like there's nothing culturally significant about
crime and law is
like
universal.
Yeah, like you can like another one, like one that I really liked that was Designated Survivor.
Oh
like,
yeah.
You know that like presidents exist in both Korea and America. Like this is not like a culturally significant.
Well, that's
like,
also with
plot.
a Cold Case. There was the Japanese version, and then there's the original American version, and they were able to do stuff that was pretty close to that, because
Yeah.
it's like these aren't fairy tale lands. Like, people die and people are murdered all the time.
Yeah.
Like, just because their crime rate is different, it doesn't mean that it's not happening, you
Yeah,
know?
like,
So it's not
murdered
like
in all countries.
But like, you know, it would be as if a US production company would watch Through the Darkness and go, we're going to take that. And it's like the entire story is about how something progressed within Korea. Like,
well, I guess we could say like it wasn't actually a remake of it, but like it does like very closely follow the Western show Mindhunter, and because they're both about the creation of the BAUs,
but like they're both about real things that actually happened involving real people. Like, it's not like fictional
it's not like, and also it's not
in...
like a cultural thing, or like, and we've talked about this before many times, but like things like just difference in like entertainment values and different comedy likes within countries is huge. So like something like Crash Landing on You might not land with most of Western comedy standards, or like
but well, I mean, like a few years ago they did a Korean remake of the movie Cruel Intentions, drama called Tempted. The first 2 episodes were pretty good. They were pretty fire, they were pretty sexy, they were like toeing the line but not quite crossing it. I mean, if you've seen the movie Cruel Intentions, it doesn't go as hard as Cruel Intentions does, there, right? No, and it's
Korean
like,
drama
it kind of pushed like it might go there, and it could go there. The casting was fire. They could all have gone there if allowed to, but there was some pushback, and people went, whoa, hang on, this is too sexy for TV. Like, it's too much. You can't have high school boys like making out with middle-aged women. That's not okay. And you can't, you know. So they pulled it back, and the rest of it was basically your standard K-drama, and it was kind of like,
Listen, my boy Woo Do-hwan, I don't know how many are listening. One of his first projects was an erotic film, so like he'd be cool with it, and we all know it. But like, you know,
but like it's different standards. They weren't
ready.
And, you know,
the world wasn't ready for that.
Well, also, I think it's just like the perception is that like movies would be harder to attain as like just regular dramas on TV, and like you understand that because it's a different cultural thing and like that sort of thing. But it's hard when it like makes it messy too. Like it didn't. Just not. You should have not done it then. At the like, you live in Korea, you know that this was.
You knew the limits.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, I think one of the problems there is that you're taking a 2-hour thing and trying to stretch it into 16, as opposed to usually when we get an Asian remake of a Western media, it's a television show that has like 7 seasons under its belt, and they're just taking the first season and condensing it into 16 episodes, and that works. Condensing it is easier. Expanding it is harder. So it winds up being, I mean, with Tempted, it wound up being basically the same plot over and over again. Like they had the same, misunderstanding, and then we get back together, misunderstanding. And it was the same misunderstanding every week. And you were like, okay, we watched this last week. Like, give me something new.
There's like, I feel like there's certain dramas that like could work. Like, for example, one that I just thought literally just 2 seconds ago. You could definitely remake something like King Eternal Monarch in the States by like alternate history, like, you know.
Yeah.
But you can't remake something like, I don't know, what's a Saeguk. You can't remake a Saeguk in the States. It just wouldn't make sense.
Like, I could see, no.
There's no royalty. There's
some like mockjongs I could see. Like I could see Penthouse doing really well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You know, that sort of thing where it's like very heightened, like romance, emotional stuff, because it's like it doesn't matter like your level of what you do, like in terms of different countries. Like they still like generally it's, you know, showing like really love relationships, and we all like have that.
Yeah, like something like The Last Empress being made as a British TV show. That could work.
Yeah.
But you know, there's like a lot of stuff that just, you know, 5 Children, you could remake that anywhere in the world. Not that they're going to, but like you could if you wanted to. But you know, as long as it's not if the story doesn't depend on like cultural grounding that doesn't exist like outside of the context that it is being made in, don't remake it because it won't make sense.
This kind of segues. There's like a good handful of actual projects that are happening very soon that are remakes of other things. So you have like, so we talked about Worry, which potentially it could get into a little gray area because of the cultural aspects of the telenova and that sort of thing. But it kind of like fits also in just like a general entertainment value between the two.
Like,
so
you know, the
it kind of works. We haven't also seen it so we don't know how they'll take the spin.
But
like,
also, you guys were saying that one is very heavily about the characters being Catholic is a main thing, and that is something that translates pretty well to Korea. So,
but you have like something like Money Heist, which they just announced was going to be. They announced the date. It's going to be on Netflix because the other Money Heist is on Netflix on the 24th, which is, I guess, technically may not be a remake in like the land of Netflix. It might just be like a continuation or spin-off story in terms of everything, you know, than the regular one, which is a Spanish.
Yes.
Spanish. I haven't seen it yet, but like that's, I think, is like a good example of something that like is a nice spin where you're kind of taking that world and that essence and making it into like things so you can kind of fit that. But you have like Itaewon Class. Itaewon Class is now going to be a Japanese drama remake. It's called Roppongi Class.
I feel it could work
coming out in a couple of months. It's like fairly soon.
Yeah, I feel like Itaewon Class could work because a lot of the problems that are being presented in Itaewon Class exist in Japan as well.
That's true.
Like, you know, there's still racism against, you know,
but I think it like depends on also like what they're willing to go and show based on like, are they going to be realistic about that or not?
I like when like remakes like build on something, because sometimes it's like you watch a remake and you're like, wow, like they actually like they did something cool with this, and but then other times you watch it and it's literally just a shot by shot, and I'm like, why wouldn't you just watch like the one I'm thinking of now I need to preface this by saying I am not saying this is a good drama. Okay? But the Thai remake of Antique Bakery that they remade last year, Baker Boys, it's silly and stupid, okay? Just know that. But they actually like did fun stuff with it. Like they were, you know, you could tell that they were having fun with the show and like the idea, and so that was one of those where it's like, how do you expand on an idea?
And that one's like the remake of a movie. Korean
it's a remake of a movie. Yeah. So it's like, it's fun to see like, oh, okay, like I see what you did. I see what you did there.
So Sky, you've watched both the movie and the drama of Beauty Inside, right?
Yes.
Did that one do well in terms of like, I know there's some differences between the two and the adaptation, but I don't know if it helped with the expanding of like things or worlds, or are they kind of like almost on their own?
So to me, there are two main things. I feel like the movie, the tone is different between the two. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but the drama does have lighter tones in it. I'm not saying that it's always light, but the movie, because it's covering pretty much the movie, it's more emotional and darker, though it's not like it's a hugely dark topic. It is a more serious take on everything, sadder, more mellow, I guess, to where the drama does have aspects of seriousness and stuff in it as well. But because they expand so much on all the other characters, and, you know, there's a second couple and things like that, whereas in the movie, there's not a second couple.
So it's like a more contained story.
The movie pretty much only covers the issue at hand, whereas the drama covers the issue at hand, but since it puts the issue at hand aside a lot to then, well, we're going to talk about the business or the second couple or parents or what. So like, what was the second one? So like tone was the big difference. I think both are just really good, but so what was the question? The question wasn't tone. I wanted to remember tone.
No, it's just like basically like did you think that it like, did it do that where it expanded upon the and did it work essentially?
Yeah, it definitely worked, but I almost like,
or they're two separate entities.
They almost feel
the
movie.
Okay.
A movie, and the movie is just way more serious. And I can see, so like I can see someone watching the drama, loving the drama, and that that balance of tone, and then picking up the movie and being super
And you're like,
disappointed
"Oh,
because
yeah."
it's
Very
so
different.
serious. If they're not typically, if they weren't expecting a very serious movie. But if you know the tones are wildly different, it's almost very good separate takes of each other.
Okay.
Kind of like Natalia was saying, like it almost feels like they read the same book and made two separate adaptations, kind of. Like the plot of, as far as, again, the issue at hand is exactly the same.
Okay.
You definitely get way more character development than the drama. I mean, the movie was very much, this is what's going on and that's pretty much it. So
one of my favorite things about that drama was the brother-sister relationship, which
you
obviously wouldn't be getting in that movie.
So like you cut that out. I mean, you, again, not that it's a hyper comedic drama, but any of the lightness there, it pretty much isn't. The movie's way more depressing. I will say, like it shows the sadness of it, and it's fascinating since they're both Korean. You know, like it's not like these were different countries doing these takes. The fact that, and also that it was so close together. It's not like it was a decade in between or something, and so that's why they had a totally different take. It really was just kind of a handful of years, I think, maybe 5 or something. Yeah. Because, I mean, even the people in the movie, like because you have a ton of cameos, because that's the way this is structured. And those are all, like, still active, and, you know, active, very popular entertainers that are all in the movie, too. So it's just fascinating. I think it's a really good example, like, what we're talking about.
Yeah, another one that idea of like you said, the same person reading this, you know, like two different people reading the same book and like taking something different out of it. And I wish more of the remakes that we see did that, like where they weren't trying to make it exactly the same, but they were instead reinterpreting the source material somehow.
I think you see that a lot with like fairy tale adaptations. Yeah. Like especially like, I'm not going to try to go back to horror all the time, but I'm going to go back to horror, like remakes of fairy tales, I think are so fascinating and they're so interesting because it like plays in with that like artistic level of being able to take this one thing and then like transforming it and maybe picking up things that are already there in the fairy tale, but like transforming it into something different, or even like just hints of it. And then as you're watching, you're like, oh my gosh, this is that fairy tale. And I was completely oblivious of it.
You'll see them on Twitter. Sometimes people do like a fan edit of like, they'll take a scene out of a movie or a drama or something and they'll put like scary music behind it. And you're like, oh,
I always used to love those
totally
like
different, right?
The recut trailers that would like recut comedies as horrors and vice versa. Like,
I have this like special love of like musicals that take an already existing like album and change it into a musical. I think it's fascinating how you can like take something like an ABBA album and translate it into a full musical and story. Like, I just think it's cool. Like, it's a cool, like, thing to, like, even accomplish, even if it's not, like, super fun or, like, executed well. I just think that's, like, really cool when you're, like, I am in these constraints and I'm going to make something else out of them that wasn't its original intention at all. Like, it wasn't like they made that album for this musical, you know?
That would be a really cool thing. Like, I'm kind of surprised in the sense that we don't see that more in Korea. Like, where, like, with the K-pop and the they love musical theater so much. You'd think, like, maybe that crossover would happen more, you know?
SM did make one at one point in time, a Wizard the Oz musical featuring songs from SM artists that starred the SM artists in it.
I think
it was a holographic musical. It featured holograms. Like,
of course it did.
Leave it wild.
Leave it to SM to leave it to SM.
Yeah, it was called School of Oz. So it did exist.
It feels like something that could work, but you probably need to have an outside source who is inspired by the album for some reason, right? Like, that album has started a story in their heart and they have to express it.
And I think that there's just like, maybe that's just, there's a lack of a lot of like composers and stuff that would be doing that sort of thing. Cause like, while they really love musicals, there it's Western musicals
that
for
are
the
just
most
translated.
part. Like there's some
Yeah.
that are like doing like historical stuff, and I'm not like bashing them as well. Like those are very important too, and they're very popular. But you see a lot of just the Western stuff, which kind of just happens anywhere. Like, you know, if it's not
Phantom,
if it was the West End or, you know, on Broadway, that's where you're going to get your two populations of stuff. And so they're all.
And I think
Western
it also
center.
doesn't help that there's this sort of perception that like K-pop music isn't fancy enough for.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, there's also a musical coming out to Broadway that's K-pop musical, too. So like, it's happening, but that, like, I don't think was made by anybody who was like native Korean, you know. So
who knows?
I want to do just a tiny footnote onto that.
Sure.
It does not fit in that it's like a drama or a movie or anything, but just because we were talking about the taking of an album and changing it into something else, I just wanted to mention the show Immortal Songs just really, really quickly, because I haven't seen anything like Immortal Songs, like, for instance, America side of things. For instance, they'll have a Psy episode, and so you take this person's discography and then all these artists reimagine it. And sometimes those become stories, because sometimes you have musical theater like actors performing them as well. So sometimes they do kind of have a mini story and stuff. And then sometimes you have the like pansori singers that do like the traditional take on like a Psy song, you know, like which is fascinating.
I always love like that.
So it's not
so cool.
it's not just like, yay, the song is always really cool, but since they're performing it live, they always have the stage production side of it. So sometimes it is staying there with just a microphone, but other times it is this big production thing. So you kind of get this mini thing. So sometimes you do wish like, oh, I wish this was like 3 hours long, because it would actually be a really cool imagining of this Psy song that could turn into this huge historical like story. But
like, who knows? Like, Sound of Magic's going to come out and it's like a music drama, so maybe they're like testing the waters there to see if it like translate, because there's not a lot of like movie musicals that have come out of Korea. I only know of 2 that have passed by, so it would be interesting to see if something comes of it.
It's one of those, whenever you see something that it kind of seems like they're testing the waters, it's always like, I always want it to be super successful, because you also want to see what would come after it, you know? Even if you didn't care about that particular like topic or that particular show, it's like, no, but I want to see all the things that you would make after it if it was successful.
Right.
I'm actually really excited for that show. But
it's like how I made everyone watch Space Sweepers, not because I thought Space Sweepers was the best movie ever, but I would like more Korean sci-fi films. Like Space Sweepers. So please.
Yeah, like,
you know.
I'm not going to like every J drama that stops on Netflix, but if it's
gonna watch them,
there's an uptick on people watching them.
They're gonna get more, you know? Like, come on.
Sometimes like that. I think we should also talk about the prevalence of the remakes with the Asian dramas that are just like every country has attached themselves to. So like,
it never makes any sense.
I want to ask why. Like, what is our theory on why that occurs?
Maybe
money.
Maybe money, but like also like maybe it's just like a story that's so timeless that just hits every country's like even little
zeitgeist
like
or something
changes in culture, but it still fits in every single one of them. And they're like, yes, we need.
But like
to
some
do
of them,
this.
like the ones that just keep being remade, because there's like, and I just like.
Well, okay,
I question.
I actually want us to randomly kick off with. Natalia messaged me and she was like, why did everyone remake Miss Granny? Why?
There's like 9 remakes of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but I mean, okay,
it's not even
conceptually,
good.
it's a neat idea. So if you remade it into something good, right?
Yeah.
That would be
where the main character
something.
wasn't just an absolute piece of shit who didn't learn anything throughout the whole show.
So if you remade it to something good, but if you keep making it the thing it was,
it's
I don't understand why that speaks to people.
I mean, I guess like in a way I can understand, like, especially if you're in a certain like time period, because even if it's like a country that borders you, you're not going to get that import of that story, but like so you're going to make your own version of it, because it's not like it's the internet is so accessible that you're going to get like a streaming service that's going to allow the people to see your translated version. So I understand that. And, you know, understand money, but it has to be, especially with some of these, because not all of them, like, there's a lot of Asian dramas that like go between a couple of countries, and then there's like ones like Playful Kiss, where they're every single country
Everyone's
has like an
got
adaptation of it. I even wrote it down there. So you have it's Zura Not Kiss, which is the Japanese version. And it has a lot of spin-offs and movies and specials and that sort of thing. Then you have the Korean Playful Kiss. Then you have the Thai Kiss Me, which is my favorite one.
Mine too.
Then you have 2 Taiwanese versions. One is Missing Kiss, and then it started with a kiss. And these are like not the same. They're drastic. Like I think there's like 7 years in between them. And then you have a Chinese version called Say That You Love Me. In just this one storyline. And like it is a story that like is very universal. It's about, you know, the youth and like finding your love and you're like, you know, wanting to be with like the cute boy at school and that sort of thing. And I think it's like universal in that respect. But like
you can do that better.
So many of them.
Like it was so funny because when I mentioned to my husband that we were gonna do an episode on remakes, he's like, "Oh, like how many versions of that? You know, that Kiss show?" And I'm like, "Yes,
Well,
yes, I know what you." Speak.
And we're not even talking about like anime, the versions.
No, or the manga or whatever.
Yeah.
Like no.
Coffee Prince too. Like I'm always surprised because I don't think they get as much traction. But like Coffee Prince, if you look it up, like there's the Korean one, there's a Filipino Coffee Prince, there's a Chinese drama called Prince Coffee Lab, there's a Thai Coffee Prince, there's a Taiwanese one called Happy Michelin Kitchen. Like
So,
and I get that one. That one's a good story. Like, I get why you would, but like,
do you think the prevalence of these will decrease a little bit, though, now that it seems like amongst Asian countries, you're getting a little more access, you know, with streaming services and stuff
to where content,
to where you can watch whatever original thing sometimes.
I would see maybe for things that are older, but like not as prevalent as like things that are like right butted up against. But then again, just like we have here where people like refuse to not watch anything that's not their country. So like you always have that like percentage of people. I don't know how big that percentage is in these like school age dramas, but like it kind of feels like we are going into a world where like the remakes, well, we say that, and they're still doing things like the Time for Hunt thing where it's like immediately and on Netflix for everyone. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard. Maybe it like has decreased, but it's not like ever gonna go away.
My only problem with it, like whatever, remake whatever you want. But like when they remake it and they don't change anything and it's literally just like, well, why would anyone want to watch both? Like if you're not gonna do something unique and new with it.
Like something like Money Heist. I haven't watched the original one yet. And I probably would have got around to it eventually. But they almost immediately announced that they were doing a Korean remake. And I was like, well, that's kind of my thing. So like I'll wait and watch the Korean version, right? To me, again, it's kind of like the difference of like Korean versus Taiwanese versus Thai. Like I'm watching with subtitles anyway. So it doesn't matter to me whether it's you know, Spanish or Brazilian or Korean, like
you're just gonna pick it up.
If it's a single season and done, I'm just gonna watch it. Like I don't need a Korean remake of like a BBC series that only has 10 episodes because I can just watch the 10 BBC episodes. You know, it's not. I like when they remake it a 15 season, you know, whatever Western thing into 16 episodes. Because I'm like, yes, I can take that. Thank you.
Just love it.
Like, you know,
but like Playful Kiss is kind of an anomaly because like I've watched almost all of the versions. I haven't watched one of the Taiwanese and the Chinese, but everything else I've watched because it was like very fascinating and just seeing how this like evolves. And it's roughly the same story for every single one of them. The only thing that like gets different is that like you have like different actors you think do better with, or like they give a little bit more earnesty to it. Like
and like
even
technology
with, like,
changes slightly. So
the
like
Thai version, which is my favorite, I think they do much better. It's still essentially the same story. really close to it as well.
Yeah.
And they're all like always on the same age range, so it's not like it hits a different like age market or anything like that, or they don't like focus on more of the like story of the parents, so it gets a little bit more like looser in the age. It's just interesting because like Playful Kiss really is like basically the same throughout each versions of it.
Are there more iterations of Playful Kiss than there are Boys Over Flowers at this point?
I think
there's more Playful Kiss.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you do not count the original movie for Boys Over Flowers, I think there's, or like the anime, but even though with Playful Kiss, there's an anime too.
Yeah.
So what also fascinates me about this is how Western side doesn't pick it up at all.
Yeah.
So when
oh
it's
my gosh, I
incredibly
forgot
popular Asia side.
Well, I mean, they did technically with Boys Over Flowers.
Technically, they did.
Oh, Vicky, you tried.
It didn't go well, but
it didn't go well.
The effort was
they
there. Or whatever.
That from the internet. Like I have never seen anything scrubbed as hard as that one.
I guess I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Vicky produced a Western remake of Boys Over Flowers, and they had it like it's like a web drama-esque thing that they put on their platform, and it's terrible. It's like, you know, those like teen shows,
and I
like
think they ran out of money before they
Saturdays.
It.
Yeah, where it's just really bad acting, like really terrible. And I'm pretty sure this was also in the like same like era of where like the web shows were really popular on YouTube. So like, you know, the Lizzie Diaries, which is like which is a really great remake, just not Asian.
That's an incredible remake, yeah.
Like in those things. So I think they were kind of trying to popularize on that too. Was like
did it so poorly.
I mean,
realized
it was, like,
they're a blunder.
Scrubbed. There was like you
got rid of
sometimes like Google it and like you'll see like still like, you know,
a shadow
articles about it, but it's like
wow.
They did their best to make us forget that happened.
That's really funny. I had no idea that was a thing.
But it
interesting bringing up the Lizzie Diaries though, because I like that in a remake. Like I like when you know, like something like Clueless, where they take something and make it modern, or
She's the Man, you know, one of my favorite teen movies.
Like, change it up, and that, you know, 10 Things I Hate About You. Yeah. Or there was a movie, like there's like 3 different versions, like His Girl Friday, and I think one's called Newsroom, and then there was like an 80s version, and you're just like, I'm still waiting on somebody to make a modern like internet web version or something, because it's such a great story and it works so well, but they change it every time, right? Like they don't just make the exact same story, or like, you know, make a modern version set back in the 40s or whatever. They pull it.
Like, listen,
modern,
you could just make Pride and Prejudice again, or you could make Pride and Prejudice zombies.
Like,
you know, you
Reddit Diaries, they also did other things. They didn't just even like adapt the storyline. They added like these elements, because like if you were watching it real time, they had other YouTube channels that were doing side stories. All of them were on Twitter doing stuff, and it was this like really immersive world that was completely really cool. Different. And it was like so cool, like watching it all unfold, and it was just a fun time. And it's really cool, like when you can even do that. Like it's not even just like you adapted the story differently. You like adapted a whole medium differently to like fit it.
For the record, if you are a fan of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, it has been 10 years since that came out, and the main actress, she is doing on her YouTube channel, they're going episode by episode. It's 100 episodes, and super short episodes, but she's having guests like the other actors or cool. Writers and stuff going each episode, and they'll just talk a little bit about the behind the scenes things and whatever. And so they'll talk even about the transmedia stuff. But it fast for like just a tiny tidbit that I'll share is like, for instance, she thought she'd eventually get maybe a little bit of wardrobe. No, all of the clothes on there are hers. Like that was her entire personal wardrobe that she had to eventually wear.
So they talked about, like, remember, because Hank Green is the producer of it, and he used to talk about how it was like basically like a lot of times it was they would set up a little area in someone's bedroom in their apartment and shoot it because they didn't have the money too. So
right.
And if you've never seen the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, you should go watch the Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Yeah,
it's
all
really
on YouTube.
Good.
Not to like skew us away.
But
I also wanted to bring up though. So that's actually something I've wondered about, especially right when I was watching Asian dramas more. I was kind of perplexed that I didn't see more like a Pride and Prejudice adaptation at all.
That's true.
Like the fact that I haven't noticed
some of those classics.
I will back up and say like there's the Bollywood movie, so there's that. Mm-hmm. But as far as you just get enemies to lovers a lot. You never get like, oh, this is like the Pride and Prejudice story. Yeah, which would be easy pickings, I would think. Like
it's in the public domain.
And
that's it's free to get.
Every time I tweet about that, about how why aren't there more like Jane Austen? Because Jane Austen feels like it translates to K-drama really well. And I'm like, why aren't there more? And then always, without fail, somebody will go, well, there's already a K-drama called Pride and Prejudice. Yes, but it's not about Pride and Prejudice.
It's different.
Just because they share the same title, it's not.
It's not.
Well, we do have the Little Women remake coming up. I don't know if it's going to, how it's going to play out, because I haven't really looked into it at all. But I feel like there's such a, especially with the Western side of fans, there's such a connection between drama watchers and readers. Even then, a lot of those readers are not just readers who just watch or read the new stuff. They read the classics too and have some sort of, tie to some of these classic works. And it, like Natalia said, they're in public domain, which makes them free and easy to access. Yeah. And you would think that they would be translating.
There's a lot. It feels like lately there's been a lot more of the lighter sagoks and stuff, and I feel like that would translate really well. It would be really fun to watch a sagok version of some Jane Austen or Little House on the Prairie. Remake that as a sagok. I just want to watch them be happy in the
I mean a sagok not about the throne.
Yeah, just. There had to have been normal people walking around doing stuff.
I personally say Pride and Prejudice Weekender, but
absolutely, but also Pride and Prejudice seems like the one out of all of the classics that you would think that would,
or Sense and Sensibility, just pretty much any Jane Austen thing. There's something so universal about Jane Austen stories to the female experience, I'm gonna say specifically, the straight female experience, that you can make a version of it anywhere, and it'll.
I've just been surprised that there hasn't been even a poor, not a good adaptation.
I
just a shitty adaptation.
Even on one of our first episodes, we talked about this, how it was just kind of so interesting that it's just not around. You would just assume that it was, and then maybe just Koreans don't pick up on.
Well, maybe they just don't read Jane Austen. You know what I mean? Little Prince is a really popular, but maybe Jane Austen's never quite
made it over. Anne of Green Gables, very popular in Japan. I have heard.
Also, I went and researched after our last episode about Alice in Wonderland, and I researched a lot about Alice in Wonderland in Japan, and they said that basically what we think that Alice in Wonderland got popular because it became a part of public domain, and it was already something that was the type of media that Japan loves, with creatures and the story, it just follows it really quickly or easily, and so then it was free and it was easy to do, and so it's translated. But Pride and Prejudice is very close to what you would think that Korean societally would and it's like a K-drama, and it's free again to translate. So
listen, it's got it all. It's got misunderstandings that could easily be fixed by one conversation. It's got meddling parents. Yeah. It's got love triangles.
Meddling parents.
Unsavory men pretending to be good. It's got it all. And I'm sorry for spoiling plot points of Pride and Prejudice, a book that's been out for over 200 years.
You're not allowed to spoiler alert on that one.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, Wickham's bad.
You were talking about the Lizzie Bennet Diaries thing. the actor who played Wickham in the 80s or 90s version of Pride and Prejudice, the BBC,
the Colin Firth version. Gotcha.
Yeah, the Colin Firth. So the actor who played Wickham in that has a one-man play that you can stream it. I didn't buy a ticket to do it, but you can stream his one-man play called Being Mr. Wickham or whatever, and it looks amusing.
Oh boy. So Playful Kiss been made too many times.
But then I guess that segues into the big one, which is Boys Over Flowers.
And it's not even that Boys Over Flowers has been made more than Playful Kiss, because it hasn't. It's just each version of it just tries to be bigger and more all-encompassing than the previous versions.
Yeah. Do you think the reason, aside from the Vicky thing with Boys Over Flowers,
ignore that one.
Do you think the reason that Western side hasn't really glomped onto those stories quite as much is because the high school experience is incredibly different?
Maybe.
We don't spend as much time at school in a day growing up as they did.
But also, if I was to say,
uniforms and
what show would be most similar in themes that was American, I would go something like Gossip Girl.
That's what I was just thinking. Gossip Girl. That whole concept of the poor kid who goes to the rich school and gets bullied.
It's definitely
okay.
Well, maybe that it's because a lot of our disparity between the poor and rich, a lot of that times it manifests in media that's for older people. And usually if you're poor, you're hanging out with the same income bracket.
Yeah, because
you're not
schools,
being put into schools
schools are paid for by housing taxes, so rich people go to rich people's schools and poor people go to poor people's schools.
It's also interesting because obviously in between the two, Boys Over Flowers, for Western people who started to like Asian dramas, that was the one that was most popular and drew in the most people because it was a lot of the start of the explosion of K-dramas being a thing.
And also it was
Western.
So available everywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting that it grabs the most people, but it's still not being translated into a US version.
Yeah, again, why isn't there a Western adaptation, a good?
Yeah.
Good. Quotes.
Quality.
An authentic.
It could be a boarding school setting.
Go dark academia with it. I mean, you
can
do all kinds of stuff.
That would be sick.
Stick it on HBO, something like that. I mean,
I think that the story of Boys Over Flowers, whatever, she becomes his maid. Come on, get enough of this. You know what I mean? Enough with this plot point. But you could take the basic elements of Boys Over Flowers and make something real sick with it.
Well, and that's what I was meaning by good. I was meaning you could really you could take
it to a new level of Unhinged that would just be absolutely incredible to watch.
You could Cruel Intentions it.
You totally could Cruel Intentions it,
and it would work really well. If you do something that is in between Cruel Intentions and Gossip Girl, I think it could work. Even though it probably wouldn't be as good as we're thinking on our heads, but CW probably could do this as well.
What I was literally thinking was Riverdale style Boys Over Flowers. Would it be good? No. Would it be incredible to watch and addictive?
It would be as addictive as it is for Boys Over Flowers now, because it's not a good show. It's not
and it's not supposed to be,
but it has that candy feel to it. You want to keep on watching, and you're kind of
every
watching a car accident. You're what's going on?
every single adaptation of Boys Over Flowers, and I have seen. Well, I read the manga, but I haven't seen the live action Japanese. I read the manga. I've seen
a couple of episodes, but backward.
I've seen the Taiwanese, I've seen the Thai, I've seen the Korean, and I've seen the Chinese version. And okay, so the Taiwanese was with Jerry Ann, where all these 30-year-olds are playing teenagers. That's classic theater. Meteor Garden. Okay, so that's whoo boy. Then you've got the Korean version, which is the one that
when you say it, this is what we're talking about.
Then you have my personal favorite, the Chinese version that was made by Netflix, that I think was the most fun.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's really fun. And then you have the most current.
Yeah.
It's like 2018, I think.
Because it's like the same name as the other.
Yeah, Meteor Garden. Yeah, as the Taiwanese version. And then there's the very recent Thai version, F4, that just came out, and it's like all of them at their core. This is a soap opera for teenagers, and like they know that, and so the story is so dumb. But like, there's something about it. You're like, none of it. Like,
I mean, there's something to be said. Like, I could really potentially go for a Boys Over Flowers, like an American CW, like Sabrina.
I would watch it.
Like you add supernatural elements into it,
something,
and, like murder and stuff. Like, because so many times you're watching Boys Over Flowers and you're like, this is a crime.
Yeah, no. Okay, all I can think about is like
full on, like it ends in death. You know, like
what I'm thinking of is in like the Korean version where like they set her bike on fire. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, that's like a felony. Like,
well, like the very beginning of it with the one guy that she like stops from committing. They were literally like chanting for him to commit suicide. That's literally what was happening during the entire thing.
And you see all these like horrible assaults, and you're like, I don't really care how rich you are. This would still go to at least trial. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are all like severe crimes.
It would also be in like the public, like papers. Yeah. This would be a bad social media thing.
Like, especially since like, you know, so I get that like Boys Over Flowers was like just a bit before social media was like social media. But like Meteor Garden and F4, they're very strictly in the Twitter age, right? Like, no man, no one would like be hanging out with these fucking weirdos. They'd be like, oh, those guys are fucking psychos. Like,
they would.
No one thinks they're like, no one wants to date them. Like they're like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer like vibes. Get on, like, no, like, you wouldn't hang out with them. So anyway. They're soap operas and they're so dumb, and I get why they're fun, and I find them fun as well.
Which is like something like, even if it's not like relatively a good show, you can always find something fun of it, and it's not like ever something you should feel ashamed of. Just like you can, someone could not like it, just as long as you are not making fun of the person or being like, oh, I can't believe people like that. Like, I could, unless like it's really like really highly offensive to like you. Yeah, you really can't say anything about that. Like, you can be like, I don't like it, but I understand why someone would like Boys Over Flowers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, on the Boys Over Flowers note, we have one. This is our last segment before we actually tell you our top recommendations for remakes. I know that's what everyone's been hanging on the edge of their seat.
Please tell us.
Please just tell us what remakes you like. We thought we'd have a little bit of fun because we a little playful like that. And we're just gonna do like our ultimate Boys Over Flowers recast. Like, who would we want in, you know? Ooh, let's imagine in this world, okay, that there was something like the CW in Korea. Okay. And they were gonna make our ultimate CW style version of Boys Over Flowers.
When we were like right before we started recording, we were kind of discussing this.
Joking about it,
one of the like things that I think would be a lot of fun is the surprise serial killer aspect.
Always.
And it would be totally a CW thing. Yeah. And like, I personally thought it would be really funny if it was tied to the dad who's comatose for most of the show.
I mean, make it like a Jerison thing. Make the dad's like a ghost killer. Like it is like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
he's possessed. No. Okay, the dad is a ghost killer, but he's possessing the members of F4 to do his murders for him.
Okay, so what if we tie him into like more mafia stuff, and then he can be with eyebrows.
Good old eyebrows.
I mean, conceptually, the whole thing makes a lot more sense if these are kids from crime families. Like,
crime families. Yeah,
I have never understood why they didn't lean into that more.
No, I never understand they didn't even lean into women's like mafia ties. And it was like a passing thing.
He was like the nicest member of the group, and he was like the one doing the least objectionable shit. And they're like, "Oh, and by the way, he's part of the mafia." And you're like,
In F4, it was like the mafia kid was like the one who was like, dude, you did a kidnapping. Like, that's not okay. And you're like,
crime,
you're a crime boss.
Out of everyone here, you're the crime person.
You're the child of a crime family, and you're the one like, ooh, we should probably this doesn't seem on the up and up legally
Wouldn't
speaking.
it be fun if like maybe his dad or like one of the members of his family tried to kill the dad? And that's the tie, and it could be a later story that like happens during the show.
Listen, guys, are we like making the best version of Boys Over
We
Flowers?
are.
And
We
we're,
haven't
like,
even like
30 seconds
discussed
into this?
who's going to be characters in this. We're just like,
This
let's
is
just
incredible.
like plan out the timeline.
You know, because we were just talking about, wouldn't it be great if they took these stories and did something fresh and fun with them? Well, guess what? They should be hiring us because this is the writer's table they never knew they needed right now. It's fresh and fun. And you know what? I'm going to call out the Thai version. They should have made one of those characters gay. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like,
They would have been able to. I wonder why.
Mafia could have been gay. Eyebrows could have been gay.
Best friend could have been.
Could have been a dude.
Yeah.
No, but like not even just like make her bi or
A
lesbian.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy.
I mean, we got like Needy playing the gay uncle, but that's like side story. Like not even he's not even.
Like, they just literally added like a gay uncle just to be like, here for your advice. Like it's your friendly gay uncle. No, make one of S4 gay. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Bold.
Yeah.
Sure.
No. Make half of F4 gay, and they're a couple in and of themselves.
Yes.
Oh no. They're not a couple anymore, so there's tension.
Ooh, now we're getting into this
They're all, like,
CW
the
remake.
rich people, so they have to like be with each other because
they go in the same circle.
With each other. Yeah.
What else could kind of work would be if you changed the female friend that first befriends her, right?
Minji.
Make that a guy who's right, and he's like pretending to date her, like to get close, and or whatever
for the
like,
revenge,
right? That could work
this
too.
is
It could
good.
also be like you could like
guys.
change it from like them just like knowing each other like because they are rich people who grew up together, and he could have been like his father was part of the servant staff at his house. K-dramas love tie-ins, and this gives you the most amount of makchang when you can make such like messy relationships, like because everybody's tied together in class wards, and they all hate each other, but also would jump on each other at any moment. That's like makes the best like entertainment.
Throw in a
incredible.
Like her mom used to be the maid or something, and that's the real reason why his mom has such a problem with them together, is that she's pretty sure they're siblings. Like she's like,
oh, you gotta add that shit in.
Cool.
Ooh, we're in the soap opera now.
Maybe it's not, but maybe that's why the mom is like.
There's always that tie. You definitely get that's a big thing in the Japanese drama land, so you get them.
Yeah. In the J dramas.
And then you can even change up, like, make it to where at least some of the characters live in the same like fancy apartment building, but then of course like the poorer characters, they're the ones that like maybe they had a civil servant or whatever.
Happiness style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done it again.
Every time we do this, we hurt ourselves.
We do.
Okay.
But maybe one day we'll just get together and write a book together, and then just
it'll all be great.
Yeah.
It'll all be great.
But okay, so now we need to cast it because that really solidifies like we can picture it in our heads.
I don't know who I would cast, but I kind of like the idea of making the mobster one somebody from Japan or somebody from Thailand, like having them be, a member of like they're not Korean,
who has just gotten into acting. Okay. That would be Yuta from NCT, has recently entered the acting world. He's going to be in a Japanese Japanese mafia film.
Yeah, High and Low, which is a huge.
There's a bazillion of
there's
so it would make sense maybe that he could be, and he's got the vibe, I feel like he could play gay version of Eyebrows.
I actually feel that as well.
Like,
yeah, I like that.
Not mad at that at all.
We're writing the ultimate fan fiction here.
Yeah.
We've created the greatest fan. Well, who's Jackson Wang? We got who throws the biggest parties? Okay.
Oh no, it could be funny. I don't think I put them down on the list. But wouldn't it be funny if Jackson was kind of like more of like a non-recurring character and he was the girlfriend or the like love of she's the model that you barely see.
Yes.
Because there could also be a really great moment where Jackson is talking to whoever you put as John D have them have a heart-to-heart, and it would be really fun to have like Jackson being like the mentor. you know?
Yes.
I love it. The forgotten ex of Jackson Wang. It's perfect. Okay, so I suppose we should we've gotten the most important characters, obviously.
Now we get the main cast.
Eyebrows has been my favorite character in every single version of Boys Over Flowers.
The best friend is always my favorite. Oh, and monkey.
Yeah.
Like they should make if they're gonna make remakes, make a remake, but like focus it from the other character, like make it about Eyebrow and the best friend, and like the other ones are the side,
because he's so nice and so cool, and it never makes sense why he hangs out with these absolute psychopaths.
Never.
Okay,
but we need a good one that's like the saxophone guy, because they are paired together, so they could be the ex-lovers angle. And we could keep one of them gay and one of them bi to really switch things up.
I love it
too.
Yes.
But so who would
make a great bisexual Potter?
Okay, it feels a little too like typecast, but I'd kind of love to see like Soham from
he'd be good. He's pretty hot.
Oh,
pretty hot. And he's great.
And honestly, out of the 4, that character is the hottest.
He is definitely in every yes.
He's the prized one, essentially.
He's hot bisexual in romantic era.
He does. And also, okay, first of all, I just gotta say, in this magical version, we're putting him in college, right? We're not playing this bullshit high school thing. Okay.
No.
Cool.
I mean, that's part of
if I want to watch like tension and stuff, I don't want to watch teenager tension. Like
I want to watch adult tension.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So next we have emo violin.
Okay, so it has to be the prettiest of all the boys and probably like the most popular one now.
Prettiest of all the boys.
What's his face from?
In sort of a waifish
beautiful
sort of way.
Proposal. Is that his name? You know, the brother from Still 17 and
on Hyosep.
You know what? Yes.
Someone like that, like a puppy dog almost, but still could be terrible.
But still can be, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like that could work.
Something like that.
And he's definitely hot and like as far as popular, like super popular.
Like right now. Like him, who else is like very pop, like Sunghoon, or not Sunghoon, but what's his face from Forecasting?
What?
Forecasting Love and Weather.
Song Kang.
Song Kang, there it is. I was like,
Sunghoon. I do feel like Song Kang could be a pretty good Junpyo.
Okay, but like,
I mean.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, here's another thing that we failed to like mention that we talked about in the beginning. We talked about how we wanted to have Lee Min-ho as the dad.
That's true. Okay, this is before we started recording, but we were just joking. There was a few jokes that were going down. One was that Lee Min-ho could be the dad in the coma. The other was that we could gender bend the evil mother-in-law or the evil mother-in-law, and it could just be an evil father-in-law and be, Lee Min-ho, who's definitely not old enough to be something.
But like,
hot stepdad though. Like gold digger stepdad.
Having Lee Min-ho as the character who gets more screen time makes sense from a making money.
That's true.
But you can always pull that. Hey, he's gonna you build up that he has a cameo, and then he's literally like.
He's just the dude in the coma.
If we're tying him to the mafia guy, there's always going to be flashbacks, so he'll be alive in those.
True. That's true.
And I really actually love him being like a lot younger than the mom.
I do. I like this sort of like gold digger husband idea.
And
that like
I was trying
instead of it being my dad's in a coma, it's my stepdad's in a coma.
I want an older female
woman
for that mom role, like someone in their age range of she was just in Happiness and she was also in the All of Us Are Dead, like or someone like oh gosh, in Just Between Lovers, she's the head of the girls club. You know who I'm talking about? She's also in Stranger as the like wife of the really bad guy.
I mean, we could go real old and give it to Kim Hae-suk.
We do love
She'd
her.
be evil real well.
She would.
Maybe it could be an evil grandma instead of an evil.
Now, if we want to go like super hot, okay. I'm just saying Kim Hee-sun is out there, and we were. I was just calling her mommy previously, so.
And she has such good chemistry with younger, like she does Noona chemistry real well.
Her and Lee Min-ho would be lucky.
Oh my gosh. That is a pairing I need to see on screen together.
Okay. I've put her on the list.
Okay. I also Kim Seol-gi is Monkey, but we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Or as Gao.
As the sister?
No.
No, that's the best friend.
The best friend.
Oh yeah.
The one who gets hottie bisexual at the end in our headcanon.
Yeah, bisexual.
In our headcanon, she gets hottie bisexual.
I mean, I would want her in a bigger role, but also like we gave her the hottest guy.
Listen, we can give her a bigger role. We're rewriting this whole thing to see how this goes.
Oh my gosh, because we can have them like live together and stuff.
Hell yeah, they can be roommates. They were roommates. Okay, we still haven't cast the main two. We're just dancing around.
But actually, that brings us to a point, though, about Boys Over Flowers, like the original stuff. A lot of the side characters are actually the fun, so like a big part of the fun.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. So who do we want for the main female lead for this incredible?
She's got to be like, I think, a really solid actor. You know, this one that she has to be able to take control of the entire situation, but kind of be a pushover as well. I mean, these characters pushover a lot.
Kim Tae-ri just did high school, so college doesn't feel like it would be that much of a stretch, you know.
That's
true. She definitely has the chops for it.
Absolutely. Is there anybody else we're not thinking of that's like not a super popular person?
What about Kim Tae-yoon, the chick from Extraordinary You?
I like that. Yeah. Okay.
Because she can also pull off like anything. Because she was in that school one, the Mokjang.
Yeah, and
I can't think of it right now.
She's also made Sego. She's done it all.
Yeah. Okay. So I
like it. Who's gonna be our male lead?
Who is Kim Hee-sun and Lee Min-ho spawn?
Well, I'm saying Song Kang. Well, no, because Lee Min-ho's stepdad.
That's true.
So it could be anyone. I still think Song Kang would be good because he can play both psychotic and sweet, which is sort of the two.
He's actually very good with psychotic.
Yeah, and he's very popular right now, and this is clearly going to be a Netflix drama. And
clearly they're on the same wavelength as us.
They would probably make us put Song Kang in him.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Like, yeah, he fits. Okay. I think he'd do a great job. I feel like him and Hae-yoon would have some good chemistry there. And I feel like him playing off of An Hyo-sup would be really fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. And now for Jessie's favorite character, Monkey.
So didn't you want Kim Seol-gi? Oh, you already put her.
Kim Seol-gi was the best friend, so they could be roommate.
Yeah, and she gets the hot guy at the end. So
yeah.
And give her a bigger role, I guess. So are we gonna keep Monkey how she is in the original, where she's like actually very personable, or like move her into Mokjang land?
Well, I think we start personable. No, we can start personable, but her association with these absolute psychopaths that make up most of the characters just sort of drives her to insanity. We gotta Riverdale this shit. She's gotta have a villain arc. You know who would be really fun? And I know I suggest her every single time for every single adaptation that we do. But Park Bo Young would be really great for it. And she's like really.
It would see Park Bo Young, or if you're kind of going younger, the girl that was in Youth of May and also in Sweet Home with Song Kang.
True.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
I'm looking it up.
She was just in the news.
Mincy?
Yes. Someone like her. Or even...
Oh, she was in Jury-san.
Yeah, she was in Jury-san.
She was
Or...
a ranger person.
I'm just thinking of the Extraordinary You route, that friend.
Extraordinary You is so easy to pick from because they had pretty much an F4 version with it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
good with her. I think she's fun.
I'm good with her. I think she'd be able to do it.
She's got a lot of range because she did, like, Youth of May was completely different than what she was doing in, like, Sweet Home. And what she was doing in Jury-san, too. She was completely different.
Here, what's so fun about this is because we're doing our own spin on it, you can always even, because we're going to have all those flashbacks with, like, the stepdad and the mom and all this stuff, so you can bring in, like, all the parents of the other family.
Oh, hell yeah. So, the psychotic friend that she makes,
we making male.
We're making a dude. Now, stay with me here, because we were just talking about Go Min-si, and we were talking about Youth of May. Lee Do-hyun would be a pretty good choice.
Ooh.
He's got that innocent, sweet. Oh, he could play nerdy pretty good.
Yeah.
There's also, okay, how am I gonna do this? The guy from Happiness with the mask.
Yes. Okay. What is his friggin' name? he always shows up as like. Spoiler alert. In almost every show I've ever seen him in, he always shows up as a serial killer who seems like a nice guy to begin with. So he's a little bit typecast. His name is Ju Sung Lee. Or Lee Ju Sung.
Are you going to make him a serial killer?
Well, he's going to be
he's
the psycho.
The crazy one. And then he's like, potentially his father or someone worked in the house, and that's the tie, and he's crazy.
I like it. And he can, he's got that cute, but still kind of good looking. Like
it's like you think that he's going to be nice, but then he's not. Spoiler alert for every drama he's in. Sorry.
Every drama he's ever been in. Like, I don't think I've seen it. Like, I'm sure he's made dramas where he's not, but I haven't seen them yet.
Well, it's like, I was thinking, like, who could play somebody who's kind of a psycho? And I was thinking of, like, the bad guy from Uncanny Counter. And he's, like, in Inspector Coup, he's kind of a psycho, too. And I was like, he's so pretty, but he gets cast as...
And he is gay in Inspector Coup, so, like, it all fits. But no, I actually really like Lee Ju Sung as a...
I just, like, remembered it because I remember we have a Happiness episode recorded that I haven't edited, but, like, I remember you talking a lot about that person, and because I think Happiness is the only thing I've seen.
Okay, we only have a few roles left for this incredible story that we're crafting.
Unless there are other roles that we want.
That we think, that we want to. So, first, we obviously need Jin Pyo's older sister.
Wouldn't it be funny to bring someone back from the original cast?
It would be funny to bring someone back from the original cast. You know who I'm thinking it would be funny to bring back from the original cast?
I have
the one who played the best friend. That's who you were thinking? Look at us. Look at us go. What is her name?
Oh man. Spoiler alert, we're gonna have a live stream where we're gonna talk about her.
Yes, Kim So-eun is her name.
Yeah.
And then, since she's technically married, we just bring in what's-his-face, little apple butt, to play her husband. Perfect.
Yes.
Done and dusted.
Check.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And now the final ones on our list are just the family members of John Dee, the main actress. We have the mom, the dad, and the brother or sister.
So the mom who only wants her daughter to like get laid,
marry rich. Yeah,
she doesn't even care about the marriage. She's just
like have some fun, girl. You only have one life before you die. Like if you get pregnant, he can't get rid of y'all. So we need someone sort of lascivious, like someone who could play like one of the members of Celeb 5, just literally any member of Celeb 5 would be part. Like just
no. But there's specifically, I have to go look up her name. She has well, a lot of them have short hair. What am I saying?
Mm-hmm.
So on Young Me, she's the one that's on SNL a lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She'd be great.
And a lot of her humor is like a little more innuendo side of everything, and she'll like, she's really funny. So
especially
she
when you
would
have like
that.
a lot of the comedy is always centered around this family. I think
She was the one that on SNL, like the 2 p.m.
I know,
she played
absolutely.
So,
I know who you're talking about now.
So then perfectly who I think would going with like another SNL cast member, Jung Sang-hoon, I think would be perfect as the dad. He's
I was thinking we don't have to do this, but I was thinking there's someone we haven't cast.
Who?
We have no Kim Won-hye.
He can be a detective.
Oh, yeah, the Kim Won-hye is a detective or like a teacher or something.
Yeah,
like
I would rather do whoever you picked.
The single teacher that sometimes shows up at the like randomly at the high school.
He is he's undercover.
He's all the teacher
detective.
Every teacher
as a teacher, and then he just like kind of keeps showing up.
Yes.
And he's always like, like he volunteers to lead all the like clubs. So like there's a saxophone club or a pottery club and he's there, or so he can always be.
He's the coach of all the sports.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have to have one of those random like English actor people just being a teacher.
Yeah, just being there. Just Kevin. We need a role for Kevin.
Yes. When you get the guy from Squid Game and Doom.
For the little brother, I like the youngest actor from Racket Boys. He was like, he's very good at that sort of like cute but annoying little sibling.
That seems perfect.
He does well with that. So
is that Kim Kang-hoon? Is that who we're thinking of?
He's in everything. He's in everything.
What else is he in?
He was in
Startup 18 again.
Manager Kim,
Hotel Del Luna.
Okay,
Romance is a bonus.
Mr. Sunshine.
He's
been in he's literally.
We always need like one of those, so that's perfect.
Yeah. We do this to ourselves every time where we create just the absolute perfect drama that we wish existed, and then we hurt ourselves. You see,
how are we gonna follow that up with our favorite remix? Because we just made our favorite remake.
We just made the favorite remake that never existed. So, like, listen, it's got it all. It's got serial killers. It's got a ghost. It's got
Coma Ghost.
It's got Coma Ghost. It's got Jackson. It's got gay Jackson Wang. It's got it all. It's got it all, baby.
It's Boys Over Flowers, but more gay.
More gay and with more crime.
Yeah,
a gayer crime.
That's like perfect.
Boys Over Flowers. That's all we've ever wanted.
That's just what I want.
Isn't that what any of us want?
Honestly.
All right, now I know this seems
the
cool.
Gay Do Crime filter.
Yeah, be gay do crime. The Boys Over Flowers story. Now I don't know what a letdown this is going to be, but we're now going to end up with we're going to talk about our favorite remakes,
the ones that exist,
the ones that exist in reality, not just the fantastical imagination.
Go watch.
Yes, that you can go watch yourself. And then we're going to actually mention remakes that we were like, but why? But why? But why? All right, so who wants to ring us off?
I'll go. My first one that I wanted to mention is Kimi Wapedo, the newer version. Yes. I never watched the older version, but the newer version is hot. It's great. It is wild. It was, I think, one of the first J dramas that I ever watched, and
it's really good.
Finished. Like I sort of, when I first got into Asian dramas, I started a J drama and wasn't aware that it wasn't a K drama and was like, what is going on here? Like, this is different. And then later when I was more versed in things, I was like, okay, now I can dive back in again. It's sexy and sad and sweet and fun. And I love the actor in it is really, really good. Everything
It's
about
a-
it is
A weird story.
It's a really
so
good one. Yeah.
You
It
need a
is.
good
It-
actor
Yeah,
on
you
it.
it is a
you
weird
need
little
solid
story.
performances. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's wild. Like one of the things with J dramas, like that was one of the first ones that I watched and where I realized that like in a J drama, like the female lead could kiss or have sex with pretty much anybody. It doesn't really tell you anything about who
Nope.
the end game is going to be. So like it's not like K-drama land where they're going to like give you like a fake kiss in the second episode so that you know that that's the end game of your triangle. Like in J-drama, all bets are off. And Kimi wa Pedo is a great story in my opinion, but it's also one of those sort of all bets are off kind of
Yeah.
versions of a rom-com-ish story. Like you just are kind of what's going on here?
Yeah.
But like also, I mean, he's a ballerina and I love ballet and I love dance. So like you get some cool dance scenes and stuff. It's neat. It's a good story.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
I
weird
don't
story, but I like it.
know if it was part of Drama Fever's demise. However, Asian Crush has picked it up, so you can watch it.
Huzzah. Oh,
And they've been replaying it on the
bless
Roku
Asian
app.
Crush.
So, yeah, perfect. So there's really only one drama that I like specifically like the remake over the others, but I already talked about it and I really don't want to pick it. So we do what we want. And like I like the original better than the remake, but like both are pretty solid. And that is Million Falling Stars or Stars Falling from the Sky, which is the Japanese version of The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, which is a Korean version.
excellent.
It's very, very dark. Both of them. The Japanese, much more dark than the remake of it. So just keep that in mind. The Smile Has Left Your Eyes should still be on Viki. Godspeed on the other one. But it is essentially about a really just not good guy, messed up guy that hasn't gotten treated for anything, and he develops a relationship with this girl who's a little bit nicer, and she's like the sister of a police officer who thinks that a lot of the deaths of a lot of like young women in the town are attributed to him. It takes you on a ride. Again, the Japanese one is much darker, and I think they like allow for the story to kind of develop more naturally than the Korean version. Sort of spoiler alert for like 2 seconds, but it's Romeo and Juliet. And so the Smile Has Left Your Eyes really leans into the Romeo and Juliet plot line. Like they have to pick up every character of Romeo and Juliet, where the Million Stars just like kind of is like, I'm hinting towards it. And there's also, we mentioned it earlier too, J-drama is really like the potential brother-sister relationship, and that kind of happens in the story. But I just really like the intensity of it. I liked that he's not a good person, and they really don't try to make him a good person, especially in the Japanese one. He stays kind of the way he is, and he's just like a deeply flawed human being too. So it's a little bit more realistic in that. It's not just like full out potential serial killer type position. So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of issues with like the relationships, and like, you know, you spend a lot of your time like kind of being like, what is she doing with this? And like, you know, tension with the other things, and then figuring out what's happening and why there are these deaths of people around and that sort of thing. And it's very cat and mouse too, with like him and the detective brother, both in that he's a detective and that's the sister involved. Both casts are stellar. They're amazing. So
Yeah, they're really good.
Worth watching if you are into darker dramas.
So, okay, I had like a hard time picking because I sort of had two different categories, and one was like remakes of Asian things and then remakes of American things. So I decided to go with remakes of American things for my choice, and I really, really loved the remake of The Good Wife. If you're unfamiliar with The Good Wife, it's basically about a woman who had given up her legal career to be a housewife for her, you know, lawyer, politician-esque husband. And then her husband gets involved in this huge corruption scandal and gets arrested. So she then has to go back to being a lawyer after like 15 years of not working. Like, I really like the American version too, but like there's something real good about the Korean version. Like the casting is excellent, and it's so good. Like, I watched it while it was airing. I don't remember where it was airing. I feel like it might have been a Drama Fever escapee, because it is a TVN drama, but it is 2016. I don't know when Drama Fever decided to.
Well, when we started this, so 2018.
Yeah, 2018. Okay, October. So yeah, I think it was on. Okay, right. Dates, what are they? Time, what is it? Who knows? So I do believe I was, because it's a TVN drama, which and they were usually on Drama Fever. And it was my first instance of watching a Studio Dragon show. And if you're unfamiliar, Studio Dragon is like top tier production houses for Korean dramas. Like, they make the good shit. And this was it was really good. Not sure if it's anywhere available, but if it is, you should. That's
one that I haven't watched, but it feels like the kind of Western concept that translates well.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like,
you know,
shitty politicians are shitty politicians. You know,
but also that, like, conceptually, as a Western drama, it has a really good start point. And then at some point, now she's just a person who's a lawyer. Like, you know, like, it peters after a few seasons. You're kind of like, yeah, okay. And now she's just a lady lawyer. Like, that initial, whereas in a K-drama, you're just going to tell that first season kind of story. And
it's got a lot of faces that you know and recognize. Like, it's got Kim Seo-hyung in it, and she's just... as like the lead lawyer at the legal office, partner. What's the official term for like a law firm? Thank you. We did it. Teamwork made the dream work there. She's like the head partner at the law firm, and then it's got Lee Won-gun with his cute little smile doing shit as one of, like, because, you know, she sort of enters as a, you know, basically an intern at, because it's been so long since she practiced law. So it's like she's with all, you know, with Nana, the actress Nana, and Lee Won-gun is like the fellow, like, hey there, fellow kid. It's so good. Like, it's chef's kiss from old Natalia. So do recommend if you can find it.
Because it was a TVN, it looks like. So
it was a TVN. There was also then a Japanese version made, but I haven't seen that one, so I don't know if it's any good. Because who knows where that one is?
Who knows?
So my pick, the girls here, they already know I actually had them watch it. So Il Mare is a movie.
Movies still count.
Yeah. So if you don't, Il Mare was actually the very first bit of Korean media I ever consumed, like, forever ago. And I didn't really know. I just knew it was Asian country. I didn't know much about the culture or anything at the time. I knew I liked The Lake House a lot, the American version of the movie. So Il Mare is the original, from what I can tell, back in 2000. And it stars Jun Ji-hyun and Lee Young-jae, and they are young people. And they are very pretty young people.
Very.
It's like, listen, you watch that and you know exactly why they became as big and popular as they did, you know?
That's true, yeah.
And it also, the tone of the movie is just kind of like soft, muted tones. Not a lot of huge, exciting things happen. Like, it's a very chill, weird letter time traveling situation. And I love that type of stuff. So Lake House was definitely the first one that I watched, and that has Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves in it. So if you're interested in either of those people, and they're really fun too. So that is actually coming on to Netflix. I think Jessie mentioned that to me the other day.
In May.
So
at least US. But I would assume probably Canada as well. That seems to translate.
Yeah.
What happened to me is I fell in love with The Lake House first, and then I went and watched Il Mare, and I really enjoyed it. To me, I love them equally at this point, because I have watched The Lake House a bit more since it was in my native language, and I was also familiar with the actors more, but both have similar tone, things like that. So, I mean, it also has really pretty architecture and stuff, if you're into that. Or if you
Yes.
like Chicago architecture specifically in the lake house, it's all about that. So I'm recommending Ilmari because you're not going to know that as much, but a little side note of check out the lake house too.
No.
Which was in 2015, which it feels like it was way longer than that, but wow. I'm going to go recheck that because that seems wrong.
What is it?
Yeah, it kind of does seem wrong, but
2006. I wrote it down wrong.
Okay,
2006.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's 2006. Yeah. I was like 2015.
I looked it up earlier, and I was like, so it's only 6 years later. So Amari came out in 2000. Lake House came out in 2006. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. Listen, we all make mistakes. We're all human.
Oh, also there's a little puppy dog in both. So like if that's a little
Oh yeah.
a little rug of a dog. So now we get into the fun part. Which ones? Maybe not. You know. Skip maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, I sort of mentioned it earlier, but I would say Tempted. No. You're good. Go watch Cruel Intentions. If you're in the mood for some really sick, twisted, weird relationships, then that's your, if you're in the mood for a typical Korean rom-com with a not very nice male lead, and you know what? There are better ones that you can watch.
You can watch. Listen, there ain't no shortage of toxic, my guys. Ain't no shortage.
Beautiful, beautiful people in Tempted. So I'm not going to tell you that it's not gorgeous to watch. Like they are. I mean, it's like I think it was Min Jae as like one of the side characters. But I mean, yeah, it just did not do what it did not follow the assignment at all. So I would leave that one alone. I'm not even sure. I think it was it was a Cocoa one. So it probably still exists out there in the world.
Yeah, it does. I think it's on Viki. I saw it recently.
I wouldn't worry about it. If you save yourself some time, watch the American version.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm picking one that it technically isn't a remake, but they did in their like promotions of it, like hint toward it being a remake, even though it's definitely not. It's a Japanese movie called Jaws in Japan. It is absolutely, and I say this as someone who watches any sort of really terrible creature feature. I love every weird shark or alligator movie that ever comes my way, but Jaws in Japan is the absolute worst. And I'm going to spoil it for you because it doesn't matter. You shouldn't watch it, even though I think it's still on Tubi for free. Thankful that I didn't have to pay for it. The shark you never see until the last 30 seconds.
No.
And maybe if I remember, I'll like put up a picture on our Twitter of it.
Oh boy.
So absurd. And it's literally just basically you spending an hour with these two girls in this a lot of like homemade movie stuff, because they always have like a video camera and it like weirdly transitions into like hints of like other people who potentially died, because it also has this like psycho like quality to it.
Incredible.
Where like the girls are going to this like hotel on the beach, and like the person who owns it is like taking them and killing them.
Oh my god.
And it's basically just like, just shots of, their breasts the entire time. But
classic, of course.
The worst thing ever. And you don't even get the shark until the last seconds of it. And it's so absurd that like it would have been so fun to see the shark during this entire thing. But nope, you don't get it at all.
You get nothing.
Please. I watched it.
None for Gretchen Wieners.
So you don't have to. Like, just don't do it. Just don't. No.
So for me, and it pains me to say this, and the reason it pains me to say this is because I love Suho so much.
Oh, did we pick the same freaking thing?
Same one?
I'll pick something else. Go for it. Go for it. Because I just want to agree and chime in that yes.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say.
Rich Man is not good. Okay. I watched the entire thing. You don't have to. It's based on Rich Man, Poor Woman, which is a Japanese drama. That's actually pretty good. Like Rich Man, Poor Woman. It's nice, solid drama. Rich Man just feels lazy. when you're watching it. Like, it just feels like they made it because
they could.
They could. Like, no effort was put into the writing. Like, the actors are doing their best. But, like, if you're given a shitty script, you're given a shitty script. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you love Suho, like I do, like, yeah, sure. Go watch it. Whatever. But otherwise,
you know that TikTok where it's like, I like you. Here's a cookie. I like you.
Here's a cookie.
I like you.
I like you. Here's a cookie. Yeah, it's just sort of, it's a yawn. It's boring. It's a really boring drama that you just are like, okay, let's check my wrist. What time is it? Like, you know. So, yeah.
Also, his character wasn't likable at all.
No.
Like, ever.
No.
Even after his arc, supposedly.
No.
He was the same.
It was badly written. It was like a poorly written. He was just a dick. Like, you're just like, okay.
It was tough to hang on, because that was back when I wouldn't drop things. That's the only reason why I finished it. And I was there for Suho, man. I was like,
yeah,
come on.
we wanted him to be
and
so good.
He didn't act bad.
No,
he was had like, a bad.
Listen, he was acting. I'm sure he was acting exactly how he was written and directed.
Probably, yeah.
Yep. But if you like mean male leads and doormat female leads, boy, are you in for a treat. Like, garbage. It's just garbage. Sorry for stealing it, Sky.
No. So
it's one of the few I don't like. So I was like,
So this is something that this is a sequel. Can I do a sequel? Am I allowed to do a sequel?
Yeah. I also remembered a show that I think you finished. That's
Hit me with it.
Didn't you watch Leverage remake?
Yes, it's actually really good.
It's really good. Yeah, the Leverage remake is really good.
So I recommend it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We're on bad remakes right now.
That's right. Never mind. I was literally just thinking of things.
Leverage, excellent. Leverage, top-notch remake.
It's really good.
Okay, fine,
yeah.
sorry.
Actually, to be honest, most of the remakes of American shows, just
actually,
like Designated Survivor, amazing.
The one about the
amazing.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe not
Suits. I haven't watched.
I liked it, but it has a very different vibe than the original. Let's just say that. But Life on Mars, holy shit, that was good.
But you can definitely do a sequel if you want.
Yeah,
so because I'm bottom of the barrel, because the only like You're Beautiful and Fabulous Boys, it's not a show for everybody, but like I love it, so I'm not gonna like poo on it. So
yeah,
both are weird little shows. Like I can't say no to them.
They're a product of their time.
They sure are.
They're very tropey and fun.
The one that I will straight up tell people I don't like is Pirates: The Last Royal Treasure movie.
Oh, that's fair.
I do not like it.
You didn't like it?
And I would just always tell people, just go watch the first one.
Yeah, the first one is better. As much as I love King
narratively, and not that the first one had like a huge plot, but it just was easier. And I think that's my biggest gripe about it, because both are silly. It's fine. The second one is just messy. There's too many things and they don't get explained, and it's very confusing for like there's no reason it's so confusing. And it's not because it's in another language, it's because it's just messy. When it's an action show, you don't need to be that. So like the first one actually sorry.
Okay, now that sounded like thunder.
Yeah.
Thunder.
I'm not supposed to be. Which actually makes me think of the thunder in that movie, the lightning in that movie.
That was a pretty sick scene. I will be honest, but
I guess
the movie was very stupid. Yeah.
If you are going in purely for just action scenes, you're fine. I'm just saying, story, I actually think it was literally just bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
No,
don't go for romance either, because it's.
I watched it as a group watch, and we had fun with it. Like there are definitely fun aspects to it, and I think as a group watch it works well because you're chatting with people and stuff. But like, yeah, we were like, really, this is the romance, because it would be so much better if like the bad was the romance, or this guy was
literally any other character.
Literally any other
character made a better romance. You're like, okay, and then but like the action scenes, the fight scenes are fantastic.
Yeah,
like even most of the like CGI stuff is pretty cool to watch. You
The
know,
soundtrack,
like,
I guess-
excellent soundtrack.
I guess
but
just-
out of nowhere, and you're like, why is there a giant whale now? What? Okay.
I guess it's one of those movies. Just turn the subs off. Like just
yeah, you don't need to know what's going
enjoy
on. You
it.
can just
Just
watch it and have fun.
watch it. Just watch it. Don't care about why they're doing anything, because if you knew, it wouldn't explain it either.
doesn't
and
make it
that's
better.
okay. I
Yeah.
guess. But I actually liked the plot of the first one, and so that's why I was so let down by the second one. I think I had my hopes up too much for too long,
too much
for
expectations.
years.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get snookered. So you can go watch it on Netflix, or you could just go onto YouTube and watch the first one and be happy.
There you go.
Mhm.
That's what I encourage. I encourage you to seek out the first one.
Yeah. The first one really became a dragon, which is you'll only get if you watch the first one. Okay. You'll have to watch to find out what I mean. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our episode on remakes. Well, let's see. It was nominally about remakes and most about our incredible remake.
That's true.
That we wish existed.
Maybe we'll do an MDL list of a bunch of remakes.
Yeah, a bunch of remakes.
Yeah.
We got, there's a
If you
bunch.
need some more, because we definitely have more on our list. I know that.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. We have tons more. If you are enjoying our vibe, okay, and want to hear us, come up with other rankings of things, you should check out our live stream coming on Saturday, May 7th. So that's this Saturday. It's going to be at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, a nice afternoon stream. And we are making a tier list of K-drama male leads as who would be the best husbands. Good husband, bad husband. Who's our future husbando? We can be bought by commenters.
That's
You
true.
can influence our decisions if you are.
Maybe you're on Patreon and
Yeah,
you
if you're-
say, "Hey, this is who I want to be in the top
Yeah.
tier." We'll be like, "Sure."
We'll be like, we'll see, we'll debate, we'll take in your opinions into consideration. So that's gonna be on Saturday, May 7th at 2 p.m. In addition, next Wednesday, May 11th, we are going to be having another Discord watch party. Hey yo, we had a lot of fun at the Kim Porsche one, so we want to keep that energy rolling. We are going to be watching the first episode of Worry the Virgin because Sunghoon
Just
it's
Sung
Sunghoon.
Hoon.
So we don't have the exact time yet, but I think it'll probably be around 8:30 because that's when they normally are. Yes. So it'll be in the evening on Wednesday, May 11th. We hope that you join us on our Discord over there. In addition to Discord, we have our website, of course, certifiednoonas.com, that has all the podcast episodes and links and everything. They're always also on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes, all the places. And if you would like to become an official supporter of this podcast and join the Certified Fan family, you're going to have to go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to do so. We have so much fun with the fan family. We just had a movie night. We watched Pipeline. It was hilariously good times. We had a great time with that.
That was a
we-
good movie.
We put like extra stuff like, we have a good time over there with the fan family. We love them. In addition, we're always on social media. It's always at Certified Noonas, all one word. Usually Instagram and Twitter are the easiest places to find us. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. Maybe pick up a remake or something. And as always, enjoy Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.